Are you ready? Good evening and welcome to episode 2 of the Joust Presents Mad Mondays.
Good evening, Nagy. How are you?
I'm well, Liam. Yourself?
Remarkably well. Very, very well, thank you.
Rejoiced and rejuvenated.
Absolutely. All the R's. All those hard R's you've got there. Yep, absolutely all of them.
It's good to be back, isn't it?
Oh, it's great to be back.
Episode 2.
Feels like we never left.
Now, Liam, Mad Mondays is something we're celebrating right through the off season, but you can't really have a Mad Monday without celebrating something. So, Liam, what are we celebrating this Mad Monday?
Well, look, what we're celebrating, big event, listeners, Mad Monday, happened on this day in 1901, ladies and gentlemen. This day in 1901, Annie Edson Taylor became the first person to survive going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Now, Miss Edson, she was a stunt woman of some reputation.
Yeah.
And she had the barrel lined with mattresses, obviously. It was all sealed very tightly. There was air pumped into it. And
I've just got the word that this is a woman. Sorry.
a woman, Annie Edson Taylor.
Okay.
She tested it first on her cat. So, yeah, the cat went off the barrel and...
Did it live?
In the barrel. The cat lived, and as did Annie.
Yeah.
But things didn't go so well for Annie, Nagy. Now,
Why not?
Obviously, the barrel was arguably the more famous of the two, and her manager of the time, Nagy...
Married the barrel.
No, he's stolen the barrel.
Oh, no.
And it cost her most of her life savings to hire a private detective to find the barrel. Turned up in Chicago.
True story.
True story.
When was this?
This was in 1901, on this very day.
On the very day.
Well, the Niagara Falls. The stealing of the barrel obviously was after it, or she would have just gone over without a barrel and been smashed to smithereens on the rocks below.
It seems funny. So, well done celebrating Mad Mondays for
Thank you, Annie Edson Taylor.
Annie Edson Taylor. But it seems weird that the stunt woman, right, wasn't the champion of the stunt, but the barrel was
The
champion.
barrel.
Well, I suppose the barrel went over twice, didn't it?
Well, the barrel went over twice.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's got to be a hell of a barrel. First of all, to fit a human inside it.
Yeah.
Second of all, lined with mattresses. So it's a pretty plush, luxurious barrel. It's not just any barrel.
So it's quite a large barrel. There's a
I
lot of
imagine it would have been,
mattresses.
well, if you look at the picture, it's roughly her height.
Okay. Oh, so
She may have been a midget, I don't know, but either way, it's a barrel large enough to accommodate a person.
And I'll tell you what, that's something you don't see much these days is stunts done publicly. Because it's mainly frowned upon now that if you are climbing, jumping off something, going down Niagara Falls, you just don't do this, you're going to kill yourself.
Well,
But
it's all the public liability insurance, you see.
yeah, but at the time was 1901, which you could only hear about it unless you were there, watching the very act.
We got a telegram 2 years later.
Because otherwise I could just say, did you see me? I just came up, look, this is the barrel. I just went down Niagara Falls in there. Look, I had mattresses and everything. And unless you were right there was no cameras.
I jumped the three sisters on my BMX bike, and no one knows.
No one saw it. I went from the
Can't tell.
first sister to the second sister. Can't do the third. It's insane.
It's insane. But the first two, you better believe
You
it.
better believe it. I was there. Here's the bike that I did it on. And then I steal the bike and claim all your fame.
I'll tell you, becoming famous in the old days would have been so easy. I robbed a bank. Oh my God, we didn't know you did that. I did it.
I did it.
I did it.
I
You just have to tell people
Someone stole all my money from me, and now I'm broke. I've hired a detective.
because no one knows.
No one knows. No one knows at all. But Liam, it's been obviously a good time between Mondays and a couple of Mondays actually, because we like to have some time off because
do.
I need my rest.
Doing nothing is tiring.
Yeah.
We need to rest off all our rest.
I had a Sunday recently just after I went to
Chocolate?
Midnight Oil. There was some chocolate involved. And I did absolutely nothing. Those days.
Yeah, I call that Sunday.
Yeah. It was a day of sort of, finding myself again after a large hangover, which I think is important to have.
Oh, it's very important to have. Look, it's good for your mental health, well-being and such. Because sometimes you have those hangovers where you truly question everything in your life. And
There's some people that say that, once you have a really big night out, that the next day, you should do something. You should go outside. You should go for a jog.
that's rubbish.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
It's nonsense.
You should just stay in bed.
Yeah.
And, not in bed, because you can even stay in bed for so long during one of these hangover times that the bed becomes uncomfortable. This is why people want to bomb this country, because this is how we live. That the bed itself, the thing that is meant to be the most comfortable thing in the house where you can just sort of just lay at your leisure, becomes like, this side's a bit warm again. Oh, I'll flip this pillow over. Oh, it's still warm from the last time I flipped it. And it's like, it's it's the worst thing in the world because that you can't downgrade from like doing anything from being in bed. So you have to get up.
I was bed shamed once by Jack Holmes, and I believe Elliot was with him at the time when they came home, walked into my room, and I was still in bed, well into the afternoon. But not only that, the fitted sheet
Yeah.
had ripped clean asunder.
I was-
Much so from...
I was
you were there. It
I
was you and Jack
there.
Holmes.
Yeah.
And I'd cocooned myself in under it because my other sheet was on the floor.
Because it had not just a hole in it, but it
A
was
rip up the entire middle.
the entire middle, and then you've cocooned yourself in
Yeah.
it like a poorly built sleeping bag.
Yes. The
because
poor man's sleeping bag.
so it was just mattress, and then
And then me.
and then just and then I believe you're nude also
Mm-hmm.
because we called you before that, and we said we're coming over, and you were like, "Oh, tremendous! I'll see you soon."
No, I didn't. I was hungover. I didn't say that.
No, you said, excellent, I'll
Oh.
see you soon, boys. And then when we got there, you were like, what a surprise. The lad, we go 15 minutes away. And
The head knocks.
Brandon was there, and he was like, he just said he was like, Liam's
He's been there for days.
he's been pissed all day. But
Yeah, I was.
it was a simpler time,
It
2013.
was. It was, you know. Back there in Wickham in the old Orange House.
Oh, the Wickham Social Club.
Yeah, the
Beautiful.
Wickham Social Club.
Beautiful venue. I wonder how the social club's doing these days.
How are we doing, boys?
I think it was just us three.
Well, no, of course we had our Treasurer Oscar and
Treasurer Oscar does some great work.
Oliver Bendai was...
Actually, I remember the last financial support that we remained steady because we accrued no debt, but also no surplus. So,
no income.
so yeah, which was the
what was
beauty of it.
Oliver's role? He,
something for not financial affairs, social affairs maybe.
yeah,
I don't know.
something
what
like that.
It was just an excuse to go to Goody House and drink. I think
It was a good excuse too.
made it feel very professional.
Yeah,
But Liam, speaking of looking,
Kate Hines as well.
Kate Hines was also heavily involved.
Mm. Foundation member.
Foundation member, and you're a bit of a, like looking back, you're a bit of a modern day scholar.
I would say that yes, I am.
Because, scholars of the past, they used to bury their head in books and go to large libraries with ladders and climb up. I've always wanted one of those ladders that you could sort of swing across.
Oh, they're great. We had one at Central. It was tremendously fun. You'd climb up and then slide across because it was on
'Cause you
rollers.
I think it was from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that I really wanted it because he could just
The
sort of
Candyman
swing
can.
the Candyman can, which was just a massive pedophile, obviously getting
Yeah.
children into it. Because
He never actually sold any candy. He just sang at the children and gave it away.
gave it away. That was
Terrible business model.
He paid for that candy,
Yeah.
or made it, and then he gave it away.
Well, no, he didn't make it because Wonka was making it. It was
That's
Wonka
true.
products.
Because he couldn't get into the Wonka.
Yeah.
He was born to do it. The Wonka,
So how's he making money in this shop?
no one knows.
The
'Cause
front.
until Charlie comes up and tries to ask for candy, and then he just says, like, "Got any money?" Like, just like, I'm pretty broke. I've given out all my candy. Like, but then he gets his golden ticket. It's a
He
beautiful
does.
ending.
It's a great film.
But the ladder is really what I wanted. But like,
Great
that's,
ladders, yeah.
that's what scholars used to do: is climb these ladders and go down and just read books all day. But that's a thing of the past. Now,
It
Liam,
is a thing of the past.
now you have all of life's knowledge at your fingertips.
Essentially all of it, yes.
And you're quite an inquisitive guy, so this is a bit of a segment.
To
I
a fault.
to a fault. A little segment I just call Liam. What exactly have you been googling?
What have I been Googling this week, Nagy? That's a great question. Now, we were discussing earlier, this is something I wanted to trial, so I did a bit of Google searching. And I wondered, does such a thing exist as a shirt with an LED screen built into the front so I can have television playing on my shirt as I walk around? They don't. But they exist, but in very basic lighting things. So your shirt lights up, has a great pattern. But I was wondering, why doesn't a shirt exist where I can have television shows playing on them as I go about my day?
What would you show on there? Just humour me. Humour me. What would you show on this television?
You know what? I think I'd make myself like a calming reference point for people. I'd play nice videos of nature, the
Nature.
ocean,
Ocean noises.
ocean noise. So set some speakers up on the shoulders, just have like, the sounds of the ocean coming in and out, the tides and such. Seabirds.
Seabirds.
Something calming that if a person looks at my shirt, they're like, I'm glad I looked at that.
That was meant to be the whales. But the seabirds would do just as well. But yeah, so you have nature on there, but like
Maybe. Obviously, it'd have like a USB setup so I could change it from day to day.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to have moving pictures on my shirt
So
as
people-
I wander around.
people just get a little glimpse.
I get a glimpse, yeah.
Of,
So you wouldn't be able to show like, I don't know, Citizen Kane on there. That'd be a bit silly. You'd get bored because people would be stopping you for hours at a time.
You could sit somewhere stationary and you could charge them for coming and watching your shirt.
I just have a nap, make money while I sleep,
Just
broadcast movies on me.
lay in the park.
I could sell off my chest.
Yeah.
for advertising.
It'd be a moving advertisement.
Yeah.
You've just blown my mind. Liam.
Jokes on them though. I wouldn't leave the house. Ah.
But like, could you have anything else on there? Would you like
Oh,
maybe
anything.
you could have maybe a GoPro strapped to your head,
Yes.
and you could show what Liam sees.
Exactly, which would be so amazing. While you're looking at me, you're seeing what I'm seeing.
Imagine if you're looking at them.
Oh, Nagy, that's...
I think that's about how that movie Inception was filmed.
It was, basically, that, yeah.
It's just about GoPros.
Christopher Nolan and I, we sit on Google sometimes and...
And just,
Oh, you should see what we found to write Memento. Ooh.
but I think maybe you could have like a delay on the GoPro, so it's like what Liam has been doing
Through
you
the
know,
day.
Through the day, like maybe
Can
just
be very boring.
yeah, especially if you've had a bit of
Or
downtime.
incriminating.
Yeah, if you had a bit of downtime in the house and the GoPro's still going and it's like an hour delay, and then maybe you just had to face it away during certain times, just in
Yeah.
case.
Multiple certain times a day. But that's not all I've been Googling this week, Nagy. Got on the Googles again the other night and actually had a chat with my housemate Sean about this because
Yes.
it was something that we find very interesting.
Mm.
Woodstock 99.
That's the
Do
thing,
you
wasn't
remember
it?
Woodstock 99? Because obviously our listeners over 80 will remember Woodstock 69. You know, it was a love and inclusive and wonderful time for peace and activism, and there's all these
Yeah.
amazing, once in a lifetime artists playing, and everyone's all peace and free love.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, who headlined Woodstock 99?
Well, I
Liam?
couldn't tell you who headlined, but let me name some big acts for you.
Hendrix? No, he was dead.
Kid Rock. They couldn't get Janis Joplin, so instead they got Limp Bizkit. And instead of the Rolling Stones, they've replaced them with Korn.
now that you've told me that, I'm less surprised that it's still not part of the vernacular of
Wait till you hear what happened next. Do you not remember this, Nagy? Oh, well, for our listeners who weren't familiar with Woodstock 99. So basically it was, they came together and they said, oh, let's relive Woodstock 69, but for the new generation.
Yeah.
The problem with
Sorry.
that was the new generation didn't care about peace and love and happiness. It was the 90s. Everyone hated everything. It was cool to hate.
It was.
And so they got all these headlining bands and they were all very aggressive music and
Angry. Yeah.
basically it was a couple of 100,000 people tearing down a region of America. There was fires everywhere. There was people fighting. You hear accounts of people who were there. It's kind of like, I don't know, they were in a riot somewhere, but it was
just
a music
It
festival.
was a music festival of love and
Yeah.
peace. That's incredible. Sorry, it's incredible that they got. Just imagine Limp Bizkit is still as sort of like the trend, like the timeless acts of Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, and then it's like, well, our modern day equivalent has to be Limp.
Frederick Durst.
What's he doing now?
Well, I think they had about 7 Portaloos, so it simply wasn't enough. People were just shitting everywhere.
yeah,
Water was about $10 a bottle. That was a debacle. It's a very funny story to read. A lot of people got injured.
Yeah.
But very funny to read about. And I mean, that was a harsh time. That was a hard time for Limp Bizkit. Obviously, they had the massive backfire at Woodstock 99 because it was during Limp Bizkit's set where it all came to a head and there was people tearing walls off things and crowd surfing on the walls atop people and lighting fires.
because I had to listen to Limp Bizkit.
And then the next year, obviously, there was the young girl who died at the Big Day Out in 2000. Limp Bizkit just had
Wait, so big God, is
Big
that
Day Out 2000.
in Australia?
Yeah, and Limp Bizkit were playing and a young girl was crushed up against the crowd barrier.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
It was a bad couple of years for Limp Bizkit.
And only worse years seem to follow it.
Yeah, no, that's it. It was kind of their high point.
Woodstock 99.
And the other thing, Nagy, I was Googling, now I've been doing a little bit of research
Yeah.
about Christian Science. Do you know what Christian Science is?
Creationism, isn't it? Like,
No, it's even weirder.
yeah.
I can't remember much because I was intoxicated, but the gist of it is the God of the Bible is a scientist.
Yeah.
But he's not a very good one.
No.
And he made all the rules because they put the word science in there to sound legitimate.
Yes.
So it's like, yes, this is Christian Science. But we're like, oh, well, it's science. And their science is just, yeah, God did all that. It's really, they didn't try very hard.
But by science, like he was behind
Dubious science at
dubious
best.
science. Obviously, some sort of Frankenstein science that
Yeah.
he created all these people.
Yeah, it's
But
a,
it seems like sort of something that you'd only believe if you also believed in a 2,000-year-old book of rules. So
well,
that's-
absolutely, and that seems to be the case right there. God is the scientist.
thank you, Liam. It's only the avenues into your mind never never seem to frighten me. So thank you very much for what's Liam been googling. And enough of the glockenspiel.
Enough glocking.
Enough
Enough
glocking.
glocking.
But Liam, there's also looking back. Also,
Mm-hmm.
there's stuff that we there's certain things that we miss in this world. You know?
Yes, there is.
And they just don't make them like they used to.
You're simply the best. Better than all the
Now, Liam, we were talking slightly earlier about things that they don't make them like they used to. That aren't the same these days. And I tell you what, infomercials just don't seem the same as what they once were. Probably
No,
only
they don't.
like in the last, I'm gonna say in the last 20 years, we've had some crackers.
We've had some absolute rippers, yeah.
What was your favourite?
Look, it's got to be the Magic Bullet.
It was
I loved the Magic Bullet. You can make anything with a Magic Bullet.
it was like its own show
It was essentially, a half-hour-long television
because
program.
it went for quite some time.
And it had richly developed characters. You remember Bernard, the hungover guy who comes out?
Yeah, because they can make the hair of the dog.
Hair of the
or-
dog.
and then,
He was over the moon about that hair of the dog.
I believe I watched a version of that. I think it was quite late, and they had a lady smoking, and she was like, ah, yeah, and then she just like kept commenting, and then they just cut her out because obviously it wasn't appropriate in like modern-ish television. They can just have like someone just like pumping darts.
Just huffing a lung buster.
So they just cut her out completely. But there was also this weird thing of like the age of the people at the Magic Bullet thing. Like, who's hosting? Is this a party? Do they know each
What's
other?
it? Is it a sleepover party? Do people in their 50s have sleepover parties still?
It wasn't a hotel.
No, it was someone's home.
But they also didn't seem to know much. They knew a little bit about each other, but enough to be like, sort of, what are you doing?
And also, if you look at the mise en place, the way it's set up, it seems clearly the homeowners have been up since 4 a.m. preparing vegetables and such.
Yeah.
That must have been a shitty party.
And it was only Bernard that got really pissed.
Yeah.
So what were they doing the night before? The thing what I want to know, why did they wait till breakfast to bust this out?
Why didn't they make their margaritas in it?
Why, they could have made the margaritas in the night before, but
Yeah.
they chose to make all these kinds of dips for the morning.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the other thing. Dips for breakfast? Really?
Really?
Pesto with a hangover?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
A little bit of curry powder. Oh.
I love the Miracle Blade 3 series with Chef Tony.
Chef Tony.
Anything with those
Now,
knives.
he was in a lot of things, Chef Tony. I think
Yeah.
I think it was always the Miracle Blade.
Never cooked a day in his life.
But he had fingers like this. Like they were
From the Miracle Blade.
But they're the stubbiest little things that you'd feed things through. And it obviously he's like some sort of trained, I don't know, catering genius, like with a sharp knife. But it's like the way you could just feed things through the knife, you just think like, you can never do this as like someone that owned one of these knives. Like I'm gonna buy one of these and cut open my microwave lasagna, like, with great ease.
That's it. I'm using it to cut the plastic wrapping off my cup of noodles.
And that's it. It was like he's feeding all these sorts of herbs through, and just like with great ease, like just like flowing through this Miracle Blade. It was.
And the best one for me was to illustrate how good of a knife the Miracle Blade series were. They use
Yeah.
the whole series each as a different tool
Yeah.
to renovate a bathroom. Like they're chopping through drywall with it and
with the Miracle Blade.
with the Miracle Blade, and then they use it on tomatoes, so it's not dulled.
That was
That's
always.
stupid.
It doesn't seem like a tomato's a terribly hard thing to cut, even with a dull blade.
Oh, they are.
Are they? I
Yeah.
don't chop too many
What's the old
tomatoes.
saying? A chef saying, the dull knife is the most dangerous knife because it slips. You try and cut it, and it slips.
Well, there was always
Poke it in your
where the real Miracle Blade really took off. I think the whole knife, the early
Did
knife.
it ever take off?
Well, like in my mind, it did. Like I always wanted to buy one, but because, be honest, but
But
it
we
was
were 15 and
but it-
didn't need knives.
But it was Ian Turpie that really sold it for me. The guy that looked like hit me with it, Liam.
But wait, there's more.
Like
Always more.
this insane 6'6" man with this solid gaze, keep telling you like the deal's not over because there's more. And he used to cut the most remarkable things as a child because like it was watching this as a young person. He would take the knife outside of the kitchen because he's like
There's always a shoe.
Yeah, well,
always
there was
cut
a
a
shoe.
shoe. Coke cans. I used to cut Coke cans. a
Coke
lot.
cans straight through.
It's easy. You just rip them.
And then into shoes,
Yeah.
and then into, I think he even cut like tins of beans like right in half. But I don't think he
It's a
ever,
waste of good beans.
I don't think he understood what people use kitchen knives for.
He's never been in a kitchen.
He was using it as some sort of utility knife. And then they'll throw in all these steak knives
You just
also.
imagine walking into the infomercial kitchen. Boy, what's that box keeping food hot? That's brilliant.
That's brilliant. He's like, quick, take your shoe off. It'd be great to see him like walk away from the end of the thing and like his shoes just like he's got no toe on one end of his shoes. Like, and he's like, it's so fantastic. But it's
What's
like,
that oven? What do you call it? An oven? They should have a reverse oven.
something to just to keep all those things
Cold.
uncooked. But they really don't really make those kind of infomercials anymore. But Liam, we'll be right back for a little bit more of this.
Of what? Oh, I was waiting for you to say something.
No.
Oh.
Welcome back to the second half of the Joust Presents Mad Mondays. Liam, huge time for Newcastle. I remember thinking back when I first moved here in 2009-ish, and I had no idea what the town was like before, and it seems to be changing a lot. But I think I missed out on a huge chunk of what it was.
You missed out on a large chunk of what I like to call Newcastleiana. It's like Australiana, but for Newcastle.
But for Newcastle,
It's a lot more depressing.
and it was huge news that we can break on a visual.
Exclusively reveal.
I'll reveal now that we're going to return of one of Newcastle's finest restaurants. Liam, I'll let you...
Big Al's New York style diner.
Yeah.
Maggie, it's coming back. Now, listeners of a certain age will remember Big Al's. They were, well known for their New York staples. They had your cheeseburger and your hot dog.
And your broads,
broads. And I actually only went to Big Al's once. Now, this was a school trip.
So it's like one of your favourite places. You only went there once.
Yeah, one time.
But I suppose it was at the time no one had any money.
Well, no, I didn't have money. I was a boy of 14. I was earning pocket money, but it wasn't Big Al's pocket money. It just wasn't enough. But one day the school was kind enough to take my whole grade to see the new Harry Potter movie, which
one was that? Probably the first one, wasn't
I
it?
think was the second or third.
Just putting it out there. Haven't seen the last 3 Harry Potters.
They're very good.
I'm going to get hated for it.
Definitely recommended. I didn't want to be hated. Very accommodating fan base.
No, people aren't kind. People aren't kind to me.
No, to you.
To
Yeah,
me.
that's-
People aren't kind to me. That's
Yeah,
what
that has nothing to do with your film watching and more to do with your personality.
people just don't like me. But that's fair enough. But
They took the whole of our year, like they took the whole year 8 class to Harry Potter, and then we went across to Big Al's.
Okay, so what can you remember most about Big Al's?
I had a hot dog
Yes.
with some French fries, and they had little jukeboxes on the table.
What?
Yeah, like in Happy Days, a little jukebox on the table.
Did they play music?
I'd assume so. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a jukebox.
But like, if they were all tables were playing music, wouldn't it be quite?
Oh, it sounded
distracting?
terrible. It was quite a din. It was a massive din. But so that'll be good to see that come back. Bring back some fairly greasy, shitty food, but it's overdue. It's a Newcastle icon.
I'm looking forward to it because I think like if something that I've missed out on, and I have a chance to see it again, much like a lot what's happening now. That you just get these revamped.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I wasn't old enough to see Blade Runner, but then you have the time to see it again. Jurassic Park, I was old enough to see it, but I was very young. So it'd be all these like second chances, if you will. So we get this sort of rebooted Big Al's. I'm looking forward to it, Liam. But was there any other restaurants around Newcastle that you miss that are no longer here?
Yes, I do. Some of us will remember the McDonald's in the Hunter Street Mall.
I don't remember this.
McDonald's in the Hunter Street Mall was one
Where
of those
was-
ones in a little tiny kiosk.
Where was it? Like
the Hunter Street
like,
Mall.
No, but like whereabouts in the mall?
Oh, I think it was at the 7-Eleven end. I think. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, right. And
I
it just
recall.
shut?
Many years ago.
You
Many years ago.
You don't hear...
They went away from the kiosk ones because they couldn't fit a McCafe in.
You
Everyone's
don't-
about McCafes.
Yeah, I know. All those latte sipping dick pullers.
pullers.
You don't hear too many times about a McDonald's, the most successful restaurant chain in the world, closing down. But
No.
I suppose the Hunter Street Mall could do that.
Well, the Coffs Harbour had a similar one. It was very small in a kiosk, shortened menu. It just seemed like the late 90s they got rid of all the kiosk McDonald's, which is
Yeah.
weird because there was a few of them around. And they never had room for a full kitchen, so you couldn't get the full menu. It was just a shortened menu
What
suited
was the
kiosk.
short? It was like just Big Macs and quarter pounders and whatnot.
Well, the one I went to in the airport in China recently, they had a selection of 3 burgers.
Yeah.
Here's something I didn't know. In China, at McDonald's, instead of chips, you get a large, I want to say it's a chicken schnitzel.
Oh, and it's chopped up.
No, it's just a large piece of chicken breast, flattened out, crumbed and deep fried.
How do you eat it? Like
with
a
your hands.
like a.
Yeah, you just pull it out of the bag and take a
Also,
bite.
it's like around like a bag sort of a thing.
Yeah,
like,
they come
like,
in a-
like hash brown,
Yeah, but about 3 times the size.
and it's chicken.
Yeah, instead of chips.
So if you ordered a chicken burger, you got
Well,
a large...
I did. I ordered a chicken burger and it came with a side of chicken.
They must have looked at you and gone, what idiot this guy's ordering. He's like,
Well,
yeah,
I couldn't speak Chinese, so I just had to point. I didn't know what I was getting.
It's the beauty of the picture menu.
And they gave me instead of apple pies, they have a taro pie.
What's taro?
Taro is like it's a root vegetable,
Yeah.
I believe, popular in Southeast Asia and the Pacific.
Don't they have apples over there?
Apparently not. Huge source of protein, taro. It's like a potato, I guess.
Maybe it's the way of them saying potato, and it's like potato.
That was purple though.
Oh yeah, we get purple potatoes.
Yeah, but no, but like the flesh.
I can't
You
imagine
get
there
purple
being
skin potatoes, but
They can get purple flesh potatoes as well.
Really?
It's amazing what farmers can do these
I
days.
thought I knew everything about potatoes.
With chemicals, it's amazing what they can do. It might,
Well-
might be just the ones around the RAF base that are just sprouting out purple. But they're fine. I'm here. They're fine to eat.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but for me, it was always the one that people always spoke about so generously that is just no longer there. Is now a bakery. Is Georgetown Henny Penny.
Oh, it was a wonderful restaurant.
I don't understand what this town, especially like growing up in Nelson Bay, we had a Henny Penny, and it was I had the Henny Penny experience. There was a few there actually. I believe for a while there they couldn't open a KFC because Henny Penny had the chicken license for the area. I don't know what kind of mob brought that in, but or enforced that. But it was that was the reason we had like 3 Henny Pennies, but no KFC until very very recently.
How odd.
It was a very it's an odd place. Like
It is, yeah.
But here, the Georgetown Henny Penny is held on this pedestal that it was had the best food.
Well,
going
look, a
around.
lot of it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
I know for my age growing up, Georgetown Henny Penny was very close to Waratah Oval. So we footy boys, we held it in high regard because you go to Waratah Oval, you play on the backfields, you're there the whole day. Your mum and dad pack your lunch, but you don't want to eat that. You're with
No.
the boys playing footy. So we go to Henny Penny. It's 14 or 15 blokes
I suppose
wandering in our school uniform. We'd all vomit during the game. But
I suppose also the chips and gravy was also like a staple.
oh,
Apparently-
absolutely.
It might be the working class roots of this town that that it was just it's all you need: bit of chips and a bit of gravy, bit
If you got an extra buck, get it on a roll.
of a few extra bucks. They're purple chips.
Taro chips.
But but it's. I think we were discussing the other day Liam, how there's certain things about Henny Penny staff that you didn't get in any other chain food because the Henny Penny staff. Look, I'm not going to say that they're all depressed, but they all looked like they were reaching the last few years of their life.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're always you know what I mean? Like they're always a bit untidy. I'm not sure if it was the uniforms, but they just look sad. Did you have the same experience?
I did, Nagy. I did. And especially once we'd open the door and they'd see 15 sweaty, disgusting 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
They were just crestfallen.
Yeah.
But let me tell you another dining experience in Newcastle I missed terribly.
Hit me.
In the store on
Yeah.
Hunter Street, there used to be a burger restaurant, and it was called the Burger Express. Now, the Burger Express,
You tried to take me here
Had-
like 5 years ago.
you would never come. It was really good.
It's because it's the store and it's the most disgusting place.
I'm pretty
I've
sure I
ever-
was the only customer they ever had. There was this one old lady who used to work there. She was absolutely lovely, but they had a proper flame grilling conveyor.
Yeah.
So there's a big box conveyor belt running through it, obviously with slats with
Yeah.
a fire inside. So you get a proper flame grilled burger.
It was the store. It's probably an out of control fire that they just couldn't contain.
Absolutely, they just kind of built an oven around the fire. And it was great because you'd see her, you'd ask for your burger and she'd go, and very clearly in front of you, just get this frozen hockey puck out of the freezer and just kind of toss it in.
Throw it in.
And yet for $5, you get your burger, chips, can of Pasito, no extra charge for chicken salt. And honestly, it was one of the greatest $5 you'd ever spend.
The store's the only place that could be so run down that in a town like Newcastle where there's nowhere to park, even the multi-story car park was never used because of just how shitty
I had
the
a
store.
job at the store for a week.
What was it? What were
Well,
you
I
doing?
answered an ad saying they help wanted for a furniture retail place, and I turned up and I said, yes, I'd like to help with your furniture store. And he said, okay, we need to unpack all the furniture.
Yeah.
And he'd gone and purchased, I think, 10 shipping crates of furniture from China. And by the time we'd unloaded 3,
Yeah.
the second story of the store was full. And he's like, well, I got to sell 8 more of these now. I don't think he sold a one.
It probably wasn't the most profitable business.
It was the worst
Well,
furniture.
they had Paul's Warehouse there for a while, and I remember going into Paul's Warehouse with a friend of mine, Seth Bowes, and he
You could never get there. You had to go like out through the back and onto the roof and
yeah, and it was
put in a code to get in Paul's
the
Warehouse.
escalators didn't work. You just had to walk up them, but I remember he went in there to buy shoulder pads, and they had shoulder pads.
Doesn't he need them too?
Yeah,
Well,
shoulder's like a brown snack, Seth. But he went in there and he was like, I need to buy some shoulder pads for rugby. And then the guy went, he was like, can I get those down just to try on? And the guy was like, shirt untucked. He would have been older than like 16. He looked like he was so hungover, and he was just like, yeah. And then like he went and got like a ladder, and he still couldn't reach them. And then he sort of just flicked them down with his hand. They fell to the ground. And then Seth goes, can I try them? He's like, I guess. And then a bloke came up at the same time and said, mate, "Do you have any golf shoes like that?" And he goes, "Nah, got cricket shoes though." Cricket
Not
shoes.
the same at all.
Oh,
I feel like the staff there was perpetually intoxicated.
it was a natural progression. You work from Henny Penny
To Paul's
to
Warehouse.
Paul's Warehouse. Who's Paul? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is he an athlete?
Well, apparently gets shoes very cheaply. Remember they used to have a great 2-for-1 deal on all the time, like constantly 2-for-1.
You buy the left, you get the right free.
That was a second pair, Nagy, which
The
was even
second
better.
pair.
We'd get this second pair free of charge.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is
Actually,
it still there?
that same visit as we were walking in, some people carrying some boxes, and they knocked the whole display of shoes over. And then we were in there for about 25 minutes. We still had to climb back over the boxes of shoes knocked over because
It was there for months.
no one had picked them up.
That's why they closed.
I suppose that's what you get in a warehouse, though,
Yeah.
rather than just because it's just.
Well, it was like they were, they had their closing down sale from the day they opened.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, remember, like
was-
Romani's Rug Gallery.
yeah. It was.
Has there ever been a rug company
Yeah.
that's not going out of business? It's never happened. Romani's Rug Gallery,
Well, how
I'm
many-
pretty sure, had a going out of business sale when I first moved to Newcastle when I was 12.
Well, if you have like
Still open.
if you have just levels of rugs, sheets of how many rugs are you buying in your
What
life?
does a rug come in?
Like
books?
roll
Come in a roll?
rolls of rugs. Come in, we got rolls of rugs. But how many rugs are you buying in your life? You buy a rug.
I've never bought a single rug.
No, no. But like
I think Mum and Dad bought a rug before I was born. They've still got it.
I've got a few friends that need to be buying rugs some soon, if you know what I mean.
I do.
Hair reclining. Isn't getting old fucked.
Yeah, it's not much fun.
Must be terrible to just notice your hair is just falling out, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You can't.
And the only thing you could probably
It's
do.
just so much more upkeep because now you got to clean your drains regularly. Got to wear it. You got to invest in hats,
Yeah, hats. Always,
sunscreen.
I know it's always the people that go bald just grow a beard. Also, that's
Is that
just.
why you're wearing a hat, Nagy?
Well, I might be going bald. I can never rule it out. Even if I say, look, I'm not going bald at the moment, there's chances still there.
Oh, absolutely.
But it must be just terrifying because the only way you can get out of going bald is going to like a hair place. And that you've already just you've bailed yourself out and go, I'm going bald. And you got to tell strangers this, and then they got to examine your hair, and then they talk you into paying money for a miracle cure that never works. And then eventually you get hair
Well, that
forced.
one Warnie's got. It must work.
Well, does it? Or is it?
Advanced hair.
I thought it was just
college or
well, it's
whatever.
not- I'm sure lasers don't make your hair
How
better.
does that work? How does a laser make your hair work?
It's just we're gonna take your money and shine a torch in your head.
But
And
look at Warnie's head of hair. It's beautiful.
I think it's just combed in a way. Like that's
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
all.
Okay.
Well, it's like they're also like people like celebrities that you don't realize that are going bald that have been going bald the whole time, like Brendan Fraser. Yeah. Because
wow.
we spoke about this on the
Was
jet.
too.
We spoke about this like a few months ago. How like you watch The Mummy.
Nagy, I can't remember what we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah. You watch The Mummy, and then you realise that he's wearing a hairpiece, and then you can't take your mind off it. And that becomes the entire
I've never
film.
actually seen The Mummy.
Oh,
I
fuck.
saw the ads as a kid and it was too scary, so I didn't watch it.
It was a scary. At the time, it was a scary movie. So was Jurassic Park when it came out, but you can still go back and watch it now as an adult.
I remember I went to see Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World with my father,
Yeah.
and I
So
forgot.
did I.
I
Not
forgot.
not with your dad, but my dad.
I forgot how a line works. I forgot what the concept of a line was, because Dad
A
had
lion?
no, the line at the cinema, because Dad
a queue.
Dad had to park a queue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad had to park the car, and he said, "Look." No, we went inside and we got in the line, and Dad said, "Oh, I've just got to go to the bathroom. Hold our spot in the line." But as we started getting closer to the front, I panicked,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What if I get to the front? I was only 8. What if I get to the front?"
I'll do this.
And they asked me for money. I
Yeah.
don't have any money. I'm 8.
Yeah.
And so I stepped out of the line and just stood next to the line in the spot where we had been. And then Dad came back and said, "What are you doing?" He's like,
The same thing happened.
I'm at the line. You're meant to hold our spot in the line. Yeah, this was our spot.
The same
but
thing.
it's not now.
The same
We had to
thing
go to the
happened to
back.
me at Woolworths. I remember with my mother.
Yeah,
because
you
she
go and
goes,
grab
she
something.
goes, I've forgotten the toilet paper, and then she's
But
like,
she wouldn't leave you the money.
just wait here. And this like $100 worth of groceries, and I'm 9 years old, and I understand that I don't have any money at all.
Let alone $100.
Because in my mind that you reach the front of the line with all the goods, and it all goes beep through, and
Yeah.
then there's just no one there to pay for it. And they go, "Well, you're going to jail." That's the only explanation. It's like
Yeah.
lock him up. Couldn't pay for his groceries. That's how all criminals start. Like,
Absolutely.
he tried to steal $110 worth of groceries. That
He
kid.
just stood there by the scanner the whole time planning.
The least you could have done is just stand politely outside of the line until the person with the money came back.
And so there, Dad and I, we had to go to the back of the line.
Yeah.
It's a bit stupid. I just said because I said to him, I was like, "Yeah, this was our spot in the line." Yeah, but it isn't now.
Anymore. Yeah,
isn't.
you've now given the line thing away. I always hate that in the canteen line. People that didn't like. I was all for you can go in front of me. That's a spot in the line. Look, it's a dubious thing, but I was all right with you can go in front of me. When people go, you can go behind me. No, you can't go behind me. No. The canteen line was a political nightmare, right?
It was.
Because there was that whole thing of like, you've only got like a 30-minute break and you're spotting the line because there's just not enough. I don't know why they didn't make canteens just like, 8 abreast and just like just.
Well, that was our canteen at St Pius.
Yeah.
Had about 10 lines. And yet
Sorry,
there was still about a 15-minute wait.
So, yeah, but like it's just the ladies that just don't. I think there's too much variety.
It was
or
like
they
my
don't-
dad used to do the canteen in primary school. He was the only man in the history of the world who's done the canteen.
Yeah,
He was brilliant.
yeah.
I used to go.
And
I used to go try and get free food off. He's like, "No, Liam, they inventory this food. We can't just be handing things out willy nilly."
Yeah, it's just a precedent.
Yeah. I think he used that exact argument.
Maybe he just wanted to talk to all the canteen ladies. Maybe he thought he was.
No, he just wanted to do the job, and he did it damn well.
But it was. I remember the worst thing I've ever did to someone, and and I still remember it. A good friend of mine, Chelsea Nelson, asked me. I was one away from the queue at the front, and I said, and she came up to me with a bunch of change, and she goes, "Can you get me this item?" I think it was like, I don't know, chocolate oak or something like that. And I said yes. And this wasn't when I was young. I was 17 years old. I was in year 12. And
Little did you know you already had a chocolate oak.
No. I said yes, I can get it, and I held my hand out, and the line was about 3 abreast and probably 6 or 7 deep, and I said yeah, I can do it. And then as soon as she handed me the money and I got to there, I said Jumanji, and I put my hand like this. And the money, because that's what he
The
does
dice!
in the dice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And in my mind, it was that moment of like, this
Oh,
will
that's
be
brilliant.
This will be hilarious. And the money hits the ground, and then she stares up at me and just gives me this like, and I was like, I don't know why I did that. I don't know.
Nagy, I know you pretty well. That's so far from the worst thing you've ever done.
That's probably true. That's probably true. But I remember it as a regret because
Yeah.
I feel like that was just a bad thing that I didn't need to do.
That was like the time
But I
I
did it
launched a spitball at a girl on the bus.
through a straw.
No, through a pen. I felt I still feel bad to this day. She didn't deserve it.
What's her name?
But we'd all been talking about spitballs.
Did you know her?
Yeah, she was a friend of my sister's.
What's her name? You can air it.
I can't remember her name actually.
Oh, okay. Was she an
But,
attractive girl?
I don't know. I was 10.
Okay. I thought this was.
No, it was-
In my mind, when people
It
make
was in-
mistakes at school, they're 17. So
No, this was in year 3, and we'd all been talking about spitballs, but I was not.
was it to the back of her head?
It was right on the back of her neck.
Did it stick?
It stuck. But the worst part was I did it from as she's getting off the bus. I was like on the front seat, and so as she's getting off, she just touched the back of her neck and looked at me like, "Why would you do that?"
Why did you?
And it occurred to me, I don't know why I did that. She didn't deserve it.
No, and that's always the thing. I also remember I pulled a chair back behind someone, and there was a wall behind them, so it could only go back so far. And his neck sort of like cracked back on the back of the chair. Didn't die or anything.
You ever
but
done
like,
that to yourself?
That you just
At
missed?
school, you pull the chair out, go up to do something, and then you forget that you pulled the chair out, so you
That your bum hits the ground, and then
your
you
bum hits the ground, you
So-
scrape your back. It really hurts.
Yeah, the scrape is almost the worst than the
Yeah.
impact, because your bum's sort of made for impact, but
The back,
not
not quite so much.
not much for scraping.
No.
But it's there's lots of terrible things
Oh, absolutely.
that I think we'll continue to do
Until the day we die.
until the day we die,
And never shall we apologise.
and lots of regrets,
Yes.
and
Lots of apologising.
only probably 10 years later during a video that we can say sorry. This could be like a
To
new
the
thing.
person whose name we can't remember.
It's the name, but they can remember you because you ruined their life.
Yes. Yeah.
But it gives us a great opportunity to make all those apologies.
She was a prostitute by the age of 9. I've ruined that poor girl.
Heroin
Oh.
too. It was all involved.
Mm-hmm.
But Liam, speaking of regrets, it's regrettable that I have to say that's enough for tonight, and we can air all our troublesome regrets, our very G-rated
A
regrets.
very dirty laundry.
I'm sure there's all these things like I I had a car accident, I killed a child, but we're just like, and then the coins hit the ground. Oh,
I said Jumanji. Oh, no.
But yeah, the worst thing in the world. But we're gonna have plenty more opportunities to do this. Thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely. We'll shame ourselves to the public regularly.
Thank you so much for joining me, Liam. This has been The Joust. Mad Mondays, episode 2.
How does it happen? You're coaching the crew, or printing the news, or straining till you thought you would burst. You sure got a thirst.